One of the issues we've been talking about nationally and here in the state is sexual harassment. And we have several elected officials in Washington, D.C. that have stepped down recently. Many people coming forward talking about historical things that have happened. I'm curious, starting with you, Laura, this hasn't hit Utah as much yet. Is it about to, or what do you
I think it will eventually, but I think back to the lawmaker, don't need to raise names, who, when resigning, being over an issue of a young girl in a hot tub, got a standing ovation when he left Capitol Hill, and now here we are in the Me Too movement. So I'm waiting for that to happen, not with glee in any regard, because it's devastating for everyone involved, but female lawmakers, they're not naming names, and I've talked to at least one off the record who would like to, but it's still too much of a blowback situation. So I think it'll happen here eventually. How that will play out, I don't know.
I think it is going to happen eventually, as you said, and it's going to hit every state, it's going to hit every party, but we also need to realize that this isn't a right or a left issue, it's an issue in society. It hits politics, it hits any place where there's a power structure, and I've gotten to cover this topic a lot over the last couple of years with my colleague Kim Fisher, and it's amazing once you actually dive into it and you realize, for the most part, it's not even about sex or sexual harassment, it's about power in the end. And anytime when you have a power structure like that, it's bound to happen. And I think that we're going to see it coming out across the board, but I think it's great that the conversation has changed and that these women and even men feel safe coming out and telling their stories and feel like that they have a community that'll support them.
If it changes things, it's great, because obviously it needs to. I mean, it's a sad commentary on where we are in the world today, in this country today, but we wake up every morning going, okay, who's next? Who to happen to today? What is going on? And I agree. It will trickle down. Don't know how far, don't know how deep as of yet, but it's just, if it leads to change, good. If it doesn't change anything, then folks, we've got some real issues.
It's really hard to talk about due process in all of this, because this is such a wave, a Me Too wave, that women are tired. They're tired of this behavior. And if you talk to any woman you know, they're going to have a story. And I think that's the hard thing for men to grasp, or people who don't believe these women's stories. But if you take a woman aside, more than likely you're going to get a story. I've got a story. My mom had a story. So I think that's when you're talking about it's a societal issue. Who knows? In Utah, I'm hoping it will lead to another conversation about comprehensive sex ed, not about the birds and the bees and the naughty bits, but about what are healthy relationships, to approach it from that, because I think that's part of it. We're not talking about that with our kids. And so what do you expect when they grow up?
So just the last thought on this, what has changed, you think, that has made it this Me Too movement start to take hold?
There was nothing left to lose after the election, where 16 women accused candidate Trump, and that didn't make a difference. So I think women are like, we've got nothing left to lose. So we're going to come forward and deal with it together.
And this Me Too movement started over a decade ago, but I think you've just seen slow incremental change from everything from testing every single rape kit, because a lot of times there was even some officers or sheriffs who would say, well, we didn't test it because we didn't believe them. We thought they were making up the story. And, the Start by Believing campaign and all of these other things have just started to build up to where people now feel safe to come out and actually tell their story in public. And so it's been a long time coming, and there's been a lot of steps along the way to get to this point, but I think for the most part we're in a place now where people will feel okay talking about it, but they'll also realize that they're not alone.
Representative Angela Romero deserves a lot of credit for that here in Utah, leading that charge.
It was swept under the rug for too long. I mean, people will argue even with Clinton, it was swept under the rug, and we could probably go back even further than that. And it has been swept under the rug. The rug's been lifted. It's coming out. Let's get it out, and let's hope that it does lead to change and difference in the workplace, because everyone should feel safe in the workplace.
The power conversation, let's talk about that, as you were talking about. What is it about success that leads people, mostly men, to think this is the perk of my position? From Matt Lauer to Garrison Keillor to Morgan Spurlock just outed himself, the documentary filmmaker behind Super Size Me. And so what is it that success kind of breeds this? And I think that's a real conversation for everyone.
Agreed.
Because it isn't just put women in power and all this goes away. It's about power.
Yeah.
It's very good, very insightful. Thank you for your comments today.